Have you heard what really happened to Tom Selleck? For years, he was Hollywood's symbol of strength, the mustached hero of Magnum P.I, and the proud patriarch of Blue Bloods. But behind that image lies a shocking truth: a secret wedding under a fake name, a helicopter tragedy, a water scandal, and a family torn by addiction. Now, at 80, Tom has confessed he might lose everything, even the 63-acre ranch he once called his refuge. So what really happened to the man who seemed to have it all? And how close did we really come to losing him for good? The truth will leave you stunned. Tom Selleck was born on January 29, 1945, in Detroit, Michigan. His mother, Martha, stayed home with the children while his father, Robert, worked as a real estate investor and served in the Army on B-29 bombers during World War II. Tom was the second of 4 siblings, between his older brother Bob and younger siblings Martha and Daniel. In 1948, when Tom was just 3, his father took a bold leap. He moved the family to California for a commission-only job with Coldwell Banker, settling in what was then rural Sherman Oaks. It was a risky move that eventually paid off. By 1960, Robert was earning nearly $70,000 a year, close to the U.S. president's salary at the time. Growing up, Tom struggled to fit in. His height made him stand out early. By high school, he was already 6 feet 4 inches. Sports became his escape, and he excelled in basketball and baseball at Grant High School. But at 17, a devastating car accident on Mulholland Drive nearly ended his life. He later called that crash, in his mother's red Chevy Corvair, the moment that changed everything. Money was always tight, so Tom worked through school, selling clothes, saving for tuition, and attending Valley Junior College before transferring to USC in 1965. He joined the basketball team but quickly realized sports weren't his path. While majoring in business, he took small side jobs, even working as a campus rep for United Airlines. On a dare from his fraternity brothers, he appeared twice on The Dating Game, and lost both times. But that embarrassment unexpectedly opened a door. A casting agent spotted him and gave him his first break, a Pepsi commercial that paid $1,000 and launched the career of one of television's most recognizable faces. In 1967, Tom Selleck received his draft notice for the Vietnam War. Instead of going overseas, he joined the California National Guard's 161st Infantry and served for 6 years. During that time, 20th Century Fox dropped him from its acting program, forcing him to start from scratch when he returned home. Determined to keep going, he trained at the Beverly Hills Playhouse under the demanding Milton Katsalas, a teacher both feared and admired to make ends meet. Tom modeled for Salem cigarettes, a decision that would later come back to haunt him once fame arrived. The early years were brutal. Losing twice on The Dating Game between 1965 and 1967 crushed his confidence. He later called it the most embarrassing experience of his life. In 1969, he landed a role in Judd for The Defense, only to be fired from another show soon after, for being too tall. Through the 1970s, Tom took whatever work he could find, including 6 episodes of The Rockford Files as Detective Lance White, where he clashed with star James Garner over tone and direction. In 1972, desperate for steady work, he accepted a role in the low-budget horror film Daughters of Satan, filmed in the Philippines under dangerous conditions. A fire scene went wrong when the special effects failed. Real flames burned his hair and left him with minor injuries. The studio covered it up, and Tom pushed through, too broke to walk away. By 1976, Charlie's Angels offered a glimpse of hope. But after 1 episode as a boyfriend character, he was fired again. Producers said he was too tall and lacked chemistry with the cast. While the show became a massive hit, Tom returned to commercials, struggling to survive. He owned just 1 suit, wearing it to every audition, and even on camera. Because it was all he had, Tom Selleck nearly turned down the role that would change his life. When he first read the script for Magnum P.I., he hated it. The original version made the character a cartoonish James Bond with a seaside mansion, attack dogs, and a hang glider armed with machine guns. "I don't want to play what I look like," he told producers. After 6 failed pilots, this was his last shot, but he refused to compromise. He asked creator Donald Belisario for a hero with humor and depth, not just action. Belisario listened, rewrote the show, and against CBS's worries, it paid off. Magnum P.I. became a hit and turned Tom into a household name. While still married to actress Jacqueline Ray, Tom met British dancer Gilly Mack in London, where she performed in Cats. He went back to see the show a dozen times, prompting co-star Jane Seymour to joke that she didn't understand the obsession. The tabloids did. They suspected an affair. Gilly didn't even know who Tom was. Her TV had been stolen. After quiet dinners and growing affection, Tom divorced Jacqueline in 1982, though rumors about Gilly being the other woman followed them for years. Just before Magnum's success, Tom was handpicked by Steven Spielberg and George Lucas to play Indiana Jones. But CBS wouldn't release him from his contract. Ironically, a strike later shut down Magnum for 6 months, enough time to have filmed Raiders of the Lost Ark. Harrison Ford took the part and became a global icon. Tom later admitted, "I didn't see myself as a victim, but I wasn't happy about it." That lost role, some say, cost him over $100 million. But it also proved that fate had other plans. That same year, tragedy struck Magnum P.I. when a helicopter crash during filming killed 33-year-old camera operator Robert Vander Carr. The pilot, Robert Sanders, survived but was badly injured. They were shooting a routine ocean scene off Oahu when the chopper went down. Sanders dove again and again to rescue Vander Carr, but he never made it out. The loss devastated Tom. He confronted Universal Studios over safety and demanded more coordinators, backup helicopters, and real briefings. When the studio said it was too expensive, Tom shot back, "It's lives we're talking about." His persistence eventually helped change safety standards across Hollywood. By the time Magnum P.I. aired its finale on May 1, 1988, more than 50 million people tuned in. But behind the scenes, it had been a fight for survival. CBS tried to cancel the show a year earlier, even ending Season 7 with Magnum's death scene. Fans revolted, forcing the network to revive it for one final season, which cost millions. Budgets ballooned to $1.2 million per episode, and CBS pressured Tom to cut locations and helicopters and hire cheaper actors. He refused, determined to protect the quality of the show that made him a star. In 1987, Tom found box office success with 3 Men and a Baby, which grossed $167 million. But the movie also spawned one of Hollywood's strangest myths. Fans swore they saw a ghostly boy behind the curtains in one scene. Years later, Tom laughed about it on The Tonight Show, explaining it was just a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson from a deleted scene. The film had been shot on a Toronto soundstage, not a haunted apartment. Still, Disney never corrected the rumor, and many believe the ghost story only made the VHS fly off shelves faster. In 1990, Tom Selleck took on Quigley Down Under, filming in Australia's unforgiving outback. The heat, stunts, and rough terrain pushed him to his limits, but he later called it one of his proudest performances. Even if the film struggled at the box office around the same time, he was on the shortlist to play Batman alongside Mel Gibson and Kevin Costner. Michael Keaton got the role instead, and while the film went on to earn $411 million, Tom admitted years later that turning it down was a mistake. In 1992, he starred in Mr. Baseball, playing a washed-up Yankees player sent to Japan. The movie's humor about cultural differences resonated with some viewers, but ultimately flopped 5 years later in In and Out, 1997, Tom surprised fans with a 12-second on-screen kiss with Kevin Kline, a bold move for someone with a conservative image. When asked about it, he replied, "I make faces in front of a camera. That doesn't make me Solomon." The moment became iconic, helping normalize LGBTQ+ scenes in mainstream Hollywood. From 1995 to 2000, Tom charmed audiences again as Monica's older boyfriend on Friends. Behind the scenes, he often joked with Matthew Perry about comedic timing, and Perry's playful imitation of Tom's mustache became a fan favorite. In 1998, Tom tried a comeback with The Closer, but it ended after just 10 episodes. Disheartened, he retreated to his California ranch to regroup. His redemption came years later with Jesse Stone, 2005 to 2015. 9 made-for-TV films he helped write and produce. They became cult favorites among older audiences, though a later plagiarism lawsuit quietly shadowed the franchise. In 2006, Tom Selleck joined Boston Legal, but his longtime NRA affiliation clashed with the show's liberal tone. Castmates often challenged his views during table reads, and by 2018, he quietly stepped down from the NRA board. His earlier portrayal of Dwight Eisenhower in Ike, Countdown to D-Day, 2004, earned critical praise, but the 18-hour shoots left him emotionally and physically drained, nearly costing him his marriage to Jilly Mack. From 2010 to 2024, Tom starred as Commissioner Frank Reagan in Blue Bloods, earning $200,000 per episode and becoming one of TV's highest-paid actors. When CBS demanded a 25% pay cut to save the series, Tom agreed, losing $1.2 million, but it wasn't enough. The network canceled the show anyway. Frustrated and heartbroken, he admitted he had begged CBS to reconsider. The Blue Bloods finale aired on December 13, 2024. Tom closed the episode by reading a poem as the cast and crew wept, knowing it was truly the end years earlier. A stunt injury to his knee had worsened over time. By 2025, both knees had been replaced, and long scars marked his legs. Walking was painful, and he leaned on his truck for balance, yet he refused to stop working. The family dinner scenes that defined Blue Bloods were his idea, meant to mirror his own home life. But behind the warmth, tensions brewed. Tom often argued with writers, saying storylines had grown too woke. Still, he kept the show grounded in family values. When COVID-19 shut down production in 2020, Tom retreated to his California ranch. At 75, he finally felt the weight of it all, the pain, the years, and the creeping fear that time was catching up. In his 2024 memoir, You Never Know, Tom Selleck revealed that years of pain and exhaustion had pushed him into depression. Arthritis made every step difficult, and long shooting days became battles of endurance. Still, he refused to give in, showing up to work, even when his body told him to stop. Tom's first marriage to model Jacqueline Ray began in 1971, long before fame. She supported him through years of rejection and financial struggle, believing in him when few others did. But when Magnum P.I. turned him into a household name in the early 1980s, their marriage began to crack. Jacqueline saw him surrounded by women on Hawaiian beaches, and the man she once trusted felt suddenly out of reach. Their 1982 divorce left her with little, just 3 years of support, a car, and a house. 5 years later, Tom quietly remarried British dancer Jilly Mack, whom he had met while watching her perform in Cats, a show he attended over a dozen times. Their wedding on August 7, 1987 at Lake Tahoe was kept secret. They even used fake names, Tom Jenkins and Susie Mark, to protect their privacy. When they forgot the marriage license, someone had to race to Reno to fix it before dinner. It was a small family-only ceremony, no cameras, just Polaroid photos. But even that fairy tale start faced challenges. Tom's relentless work schedule soon tested their bond, forcing them into counseling before they found balance again. Tom Selleck's daughter, Hannah, was born in 1988 on the family's 63-acre avocado ranch in Ventura County. At first, it seemed like paradise, but Tom later admitted the isolation became unbearable. He even left Magnum P.I. to focus on family, saying, "I wanted a real life, not just a career." Hannah grew up surrounded by animals, dogs, horses, and cattle, but it was often lonely. Horses became her escape, and she later confessed that without riding, ranch life might have swallowed her whole. Tom had also adopted Jacqueline Ray's son, Kevin, when he was 21. Kevin's life, however, was marked by struggle. He began drinking heavily in his 20s, and Tom sent him to rehab at the Betty Ford Center. Even after treatment, Kevin's troubles continued, from debt to directionless years. Despite his father's support and money, nothing seemed to help. He eventually married, had 6 children, and reportedly found stability, though the emotional scars never fully healed. The ranch that was supposed to bring peace became another source of pain. Purchased from Dean Martin in 1988 for $5 million, it was Tom's pride until 2015, when he was sued for allegedly stealing 1.4 million gallons of water during California's historic drought. Investigators claimed he used a tanker truck to draw water from a public hydrant miles away. Tom settled the case by paying $21,685, the exact cost of the investigation. By 2023, drought had wiped out nearly all 2,500 avocado trees and 25 ancient oaks. "It broke my heart," he admitted. Once joking that he didn't even like avocados, Tom now watched the ranch, his symbol of peace, wither into silence. In 2024, Tom Selleck faced one of the hardest years of his life. Blue Bloods, his longest-running and most successful show, was canceled after 14 years. Though he'd been earning $200,000 per episode, about $4.8 million per season, Tom admitted on CBS that he wasn't sure he could afford his 63-acre ranch without steady work. "Am I set for life? Yeah," he said, "but maybe not on a 63-acre ranch." Despite the property's $12 million value, reports suggested he had taken out $15 to $16 million in loans years earlier. In a final effort, he even offered CBS a 25% pay cut to keep the show alive, but the network refused. By 2025, his health had collapsed. At 80, friends said Tom looked almost unrecognizable, heavier, frailer, and tired. Years of arthritis and knee surgeries had left him with deep scars and limited mobility. He relied on medication, but steroids increased his appetite and depression worsened it. Once active and strong, Tom now leaned on his truck for balance and secretly turned to fast food for comfort. At 6 feet 4 inches, he reportedly reached nearly 350 pounds, facing serious risks of heart disease and diabetes. Through it all, Jilly remained by his side, even as the strain showed. Retirement terrified him, but his body was failing. Still, he pushed on, publishing his memoir, You Never Know, in May 2024, where he reflected on fame, regret, and the cost of success. CBS attempted to carry on his legacy with the spin-off Boston Blue in 2025, centered on Donnie Wahlberg. Tom wanted to make an appearance, but his health made that unlikely. By 2026, those closest to him believed he would finally retreat from Hollywood. The ranch he once called his sanctuary had become a burden, yet he couldn't let it go. "I need to keep working enough to hold on to the place," he said quietly. Now, friends say Tom Selleck spends most days away from the cameras. Just him, Jilly, and the fading piece of 63 acres that once symbolized everything he worked for. What do you think about Tom Selleck's journey? Has he been forgotten too soon, or has he finally found peace away from fame? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories from us. I'll see you in the next video.